What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Second Stringers podcast. My name is Will Baldwin, and with me is Paul Guado. Paul, how's it going?
Everything's good. Happy to be back for another episode. Pretty excited for this one. Week 3 was pretty good, so I'm excited to talk about it. How are you?
I'm good. It was another fun week in the league. We knew it was going to be tough to pick all the games just because none of the lines stood out, and based on our records and how it played out, it's pretty clear that we were right about that, which is nice to be right about something.
A little bit embarrassing, but I mean, there's always going to be a little bright patch in that embarrassment for whoever wins out of us too. So
there's always next week. That's for sure. Anyway, let's get into the games. I'm gonna recap every single game, and then at the end we'll throw in a little Thursday night football prediction because this is the first Thursday night game that looks really sweet.
Yeah.
But starting things off with the Cincinnati Bengals heading to Buffalo. Cincinnati didn't show up in the first half and for most of the second half. Then all of a sudden they came back and almost won this game. But the takeaway from this game is twofold, and it's the same twofold for the entire Bills season so far. The first is the Bills defense is elite. It might be are quietly one of the 3 or 4 best defenses in the entire league. But maybe more so importantly, because the Bills defense has been relevant for a couple of years now. The thing that's most relevant is that Josh Allen is a legit player in the NFL. Yeah. It's 100% confirmed at this point. The guy was outstanding when it mattered most. I mean, 2 out of 3 weeks, the guy has driven down and won his team the game. What more can you say about him?
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I mean, if you look at what I was tweeting during the game, I tweeted I'm officially on the Josh Allen bandwagon because he is a legit playmaker. I mean, he can run the ball, he can pass the ball. He looks confident behind that line in Buffalo. That's pretty strong. They got a great coaching staff, really smart guys on the roster as well. They've got really interesting guys on the team. So, yeah, I believe in Josh Allen this year. I think Buffalo can surprise some people, possibly make a push for the playoffs at the end of the year this year. They're the only team in that division, and from the Patriots are probably guaranteed the win, but Buffalo's second, and they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and I'm excited to see that.
I mean, the 3-0 start, though, puts them at a huge leg up to make that playoff spot. But, yeah, I think for a Bills fan base, after what felt like a step back last year after finally making the playoffs the year before, this team looks like they took a 1 step back so they could take about 3 forward. They look so much better than they did even the year they made the playoffs. I mean, this team is for real, and it looks like they're starting to build something that's going to last for a significant amount of time, similar to another team up north building around a second-year quarterback. Both of those teams that we'll get to Baltimore later, but both those teams remind me of each other in that you can see them building something that's going to last for a while around their young QBs, which is exciting for 2 fan bases that definitely more so the Bills. They deserve to have a elite team after what they've gone through as a fan base. But even the Ravens, I mean, they've never had an elite quarterback, so I think it'd be fun for those guys to experience what it's like to every week know that it's not just on their defense to win a game.
Yeah.
And then in terms of Cincinnati, I mean, their season's done.
I'm with you on that.
I mean, they might be the Steelers this week, but I think long term, the injuries killed them, losing their first round pick in camp. No AJ Green. I mean, I think you're encouraged with what you've seen from the head coach, but overall, this team, like Zach Taylor's looked like he knows what he's doing, which is a definite step up from Marvin Lewis. But I think overall, this team, they're a year or 2 away, to say the least, and probably a quarterback away from making a jump.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
And let's move on to another team that's a couple years away from making the jump to relevancy. Paul, you guys looked better in the first half. And
Yeah,
of course, we're talking about Paul Guado's Miami Dolphins going into Dallas and playing competitively in the first half. I mean, I was talking to a Dolphins fan today and I said, Kenyon Drake doesn't fumble. You guys go into the half with the lead. So I think that's definitely a encouraging sign how hard they were playing. I have no
yeah,
takeaways. I have no takeaways from Dallas in this game, by the way. I don't even want to talk about Dallas. Like, they're really good.
yeah.
But, like, the takeaway is they didn't show up in the first half and then they just won the game because Miami sucks. But, like,
hmm
I think the takeaway from this game, and I want to get your opinion on it, is watching Rosen play the way he did in the first half, especially. Does it give you hope as a Dolphins fan that he could be the guy, or are you already moved on to Tua or whoever in the?
Uh, I mean, we've seen it 2 weeks in a row now that Miami's came out, had a good first half against really tough teams. Two teams that could definitely be fighting for the Super Bowl with the Cowboys and the Patriots. We played two good first halves. I mean, I was pretty happy with how he played in both of them. Josh Rosen, I was surprised with how well he played. I thought he had actually a strong game this game. Surprised me a bit, but looking into the future, I I could see him in Miami for another year, or a prove it year. I don't know if Tua is definitely the guy. I mean, depending on where we finish last year, if we finish last, of course, we'll have the first draft pick. It'll be interesting to see if there's better quarterbacks next year. So who knows if we wait till next year for a better quarterback and ride with Rosen. But I wouldn't be against that at the end of the day. He's not a terrible quarterback. I think he could be a good backup once we get a new guy in. And I have nothing against him, to be honest. I have no bad words for him yet.
I think yeah. I think before we move on, uh, we know it's management's decision and prerogative to tank, so you can't really blame Brian Flores. And I think the takeaway as a Finns fan is Flores might be a real coach just based on the fact this team keeps playing hard for him.
hmm
Because he has nothing to do with the tanking. It's not up to him, whatever. And whatever he's doing in that locker room, he's getting a lot of guys who are lacking talent to play hard for him. And if you're a Dolphins fan, I think that's got to be something that gets you excited for the future when ideally you get start using those picks and assets to result in some players that
Yeah.
he can get guys to play hard for him, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Moving on to the one of the I don't want to call them a surprise team because their quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. It shouldn't be a
Surprise
surprise.
defense.
It shouldn't be a surprise that the Packers are a 3-0 team when they have Aaron Rodgers at the helm. I think it's more so a surprise in how they've looked.
Yeah.
This is a defensive football team, which is exciting for Packers fans.
hmm
After so many years of Aaron, go put up 30 or else we're going to lose, it's nice to see them build something around him, which is definitely something he's been missing. And then quickly, before we talk a bit more about the Packers, because I think this is all that needs to be said about Denver, they're done. They suck.
Yeah.
Like,
Their offense sucks.
I mean, this is going to be a long, long year for Broncos fans and John Elway as they reevaluate whether John Elway knows what he's doing or not, because this is
hmm
however many years in a row now of him just failing to put a quarterback in place. And I think John Elway's tenure in Denver, which is crazy to say, might be relying on how Drew Lock looks, the guy sitting behind Flacco, who I don't think we're going to see this year no matter what.
Yep.
I think it just relies on how he turns out. And if he doesn't work out, Broncos might fire John Elway, which is pretty crazy. But moving back to the Packers, because I don't think we need to talk about the Broncos anymore. The Packers have a big game against the Eagles this week. So I think we should use this game as a quick way of wondering. The Packers offense hasn't looked good early. It just hasn't. There's been times where it's looked solid, but it hasn't looked as well as I think everyone anticipated, and it should with a with an Aaron Rodgers back there. Do you think Packers fans should be concerned about their offense, or do you think it's just going to come around and they've just happened to play 3 of the 10 best defenses in the league, and it's going to even out, and they're going to get in a rhythm and figure everything out?
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about this last week or the week before, but new coach, new system, got a quarterback that he knew his old book unbelievably well. Still one of the smartest guys in the NFL. But he's got to take some time to get used to that system, learn it. He's proven that he can a bit. They're going to get more comfortable throughout the season. I've noticed the Packers get better and better from here on out. And that's something that should scare a lot of teams in the NFL. I think they could be kind of the surprise team of the year. Like you were saying, I'd say the surprise defense of the year, just because how good their defense has been. Especially with getting rid of guys like Clay Matthews, I did not expect the defense to be so strong without guys like that missing. Other than from that, I mean, the Broncos, they're a defensive line and nothing else. It's kind of like the Houston Texans from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see the Packers just getting better from here on out, though. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's special. Everybody knows that. We've all known that for years. And I think him and Matt LaFleur could work and be quite successful here on out. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think the Packers are. I'm a little bit wait and see with their offense. I believe it's going to end up being what I thought it was going to be coming into the season. Like, I still believe that, and I don't think I have too many reasons not to. But at the end of the day, I still haven't seen it yet, and we haven't seen it yet. So it's difficult to guarantee something that we haven't seen yet. And I think this week against the Eagles will be an interesting test for them, just because the Eagles have one of the best rosters in the league, and we'll see how they look, because it's such an important game. We'll get into it later for the Eagles and why it's such an important game, because we'll get to that Lions game later. But it's a must win for Philly, and I think they're going to give the Packers everything they have, and so we'll see what the Packers are truly made of, and if they're a good team, an 11-win team, or 10-11 win team, where they're a really good team, they win their division, but they'll lose this game just because the Eagles want it more, or if they're a 12-plus win team where they're going to beat the Eagles even when the Eagles need it most. Mm-hmm. Moving on to arguably the most surprising team in the league against one of the most disappointing teams in the league. I mean, Paul, why can't the Atlanta Falcons play well in the first half on the road?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. Matt Ryan could be leading the league in passing yards if they were playing well. I mean, I can't figure out the Atlanta Falcons right now. I really can't. They might have one of the best wide receiver groups in the NFL. They have a good line. Devontae Freeman back there, good back, great back. I mean, they're such a solid team. They got a solid defense. I don't get why Matt Ryan isn't. He's got 928 yards. He could have over 1,000 like Mahomes if he played well in the first half.
They were
not of just this game. That's the thing. Like they can't figure it out, and I don't get it.
They were far and away the best team in this game from about, I think it was about like 3 or 4 minutes left in the first half on. When the Colts went up 13-0, you were kind of like, wow, this game's kind of over. And then from that point on, the Falcons kick a field goal. And yeah, they gave up the touchdown, but from there on out, like, the Falcons were just the better team.
Yeah.
And were in position to give themselves a chance if they could have gotten a stop on that last drive. Jacoby Brissett makes a big time throw. I mean, what more can you say about Jacoby Brissett? Jacoby Brissett's a legitimate NFL starter. He's quietly climbing the ranks of NFL quarterbacks right now with how he's playing. He's just
Let's
been.
remember something about him too. He was the third string behind Brady and Garoppolo.
You want to talk about talent in a quarterback room?
There must be a reason why both of them are gone. I'm scared of having this spot taken.
Combined 8-1.
That's crazy.
Like, and then the other thing is too, Bill Parcells, maybe the best coach in the NFL in NFL history, put his stamp of approval on Jacoby and said Jacoby was going to be a player when Brissett came out of North Carolina State. So maybe we shouldn't be too surprised at how he's developed into the player that he looks like he is now. But I mean, the Colts are the feel-good story of the AFC right now, maybe outside of Buffalo, and the Falcons are the upsetting story of the NFC. Like, there's just no reason in a game where they find out Drew is out 8 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks probably for New Orleans. Like, this is the Falcons division to lose, and they come out and play like that. I mean, really, really disappointing stuff from Matt Ryan in a guy that a lot of people think is an elite quarterback. He did not show it this week, and they're going to need him this week against Tennessee. I mean, what a quietly really, really interesting game for two teams that need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. I mean, that's why you love the NFL is week 4, and we're already getting games where, like, the 2-0-2 teams, like, whatever, like, it seems like that's a little bit of a loser leaves town. But 1-2 against 1-2, you're in trouble if you lose that game. Like, that game is. So we'll get to that on Friday.